Hello, this is Annmarie, and today my mini lesson will be on clauses. First, let me define what is a clause. A clause is a group of words that contains a verb and a subject, and it is used as a part of a sentence. When we're writing sentences, sometimes we use two different types of clauses, and these two types are the independent clause and the dependent clause. For the independent clause, an independent clause has a complete thought. It expresses a complete thought, while the dependent clause does not expresses a complete thought. Although they both have a subject and a verb, the independent expresses complete and the dependent does not. So let me quickly show you some examples or we can identify the independent clause and the dependent clause. Okay? Now let us look over on this section of this chart. You have the independent clause and you have the dependent clause here. As we look at sentence number 1 or clause number 1, we have the sun set an hour ago. First, how do we know that it is a clause? We know that it has a subject and it has a verb. But how do we know that it is an independent clause? We know that it is an independent clause because it makes sense. It expresses a complete thought. Okay? The sun set an hour ago. This is a complete thought. Let us look at the second sentence. I went to the movies. First, let us identify. Let us see if it has a subject and a verb. Subject, I went, verb. Let us see if it has a complete thought. I went to the movies. It makes sense. It expresses a complete thought. Okay, let us look over this section where we have the dependent clause. First, remember I said the dependent clause also has a subject and a verb, but it does not express a complete thought. Remember, it does not express a complete thought. Let us look at these two examples. That I wanted. Here we have our subject, I. Here we have our verb, wanted. But does this make sense? No. So we know that this is the dependent clause because it does not express a complete thought. It does not make any sense. Let us look on the second clause here. What she saw. Here we have our subject. Here we have our verb. Our dependent clause, what she saw. Does it make any sense? Does it express a complete thought? No, it does not. So we know that this is a dependent clause. So let me sum up. We know that when we're writing sentences, we use clauses. We sometimes use the dependent clause with an independent clause, or we just use an independent clause by itself. So we know there are differences. One expresses a complete thought while one does not express a complete thought. And this ends our simple mini lesson on clauses. Thank you.